بدءا من هذا اليوم وتقريبا الأسبوع القادم وربما ما بعده. نطول يا أستاذ رامي حتى 2 seconds. سيكون حول موضوع الزكاة إن شاء الله تعالى، وسوف نتطرق إلى العديد من أحكامها وآدابها وتفصيلاتها. So beginning of today, inshallah Rabbil Alameen, we will address the subject of zakah. And inshallah Rabbil Alameen, we will address many of the rulings and etiquettes of zakah and details of paying and giving the zakah. But before we start, we know that many of our brothers and sisters who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed them by having wealth ask about giving the zakah during Ramadan. Is it better to give zakah during Ramadan or to give it any other time? For sure, giving zakah in Ramadan has a virtuous and more rewards, inshallah Rabbil Alameen, because Ramadan is a blessed month and a blessed time. فكون رمضان وقت مبارك ووقت تضاعف فيه أجور الأعمال، فإن إخراج الزكاة فيه أمر حسن. من الجيد أن يعني نتقصد أن نخرج زكاتنا أو نبدأ أو نخرج جزءا منها في شهر رمضان، لكن هذا لا يمنع أنه عند الحاجة أن تقدم زكاتك في غير رمضان. But this does not mean that if there is a need, we should not give our zakah any other time. If there is a need, give it when it is needed, and Allah will give you more rewards, because the rewards of zakah depends on the need of the receiver. So it depends on many things. The time is one thing. The place, what? Yeah. Yes, when it is due, but you can make it due in Ramadan. You can set the month of Ramadan as the month of your zakah, of paying your zakah. But I mean, when you give the zakah to one of your relatives, it will be much better than giving it to somebody, to a foreign person. But giving it to one in severe need is also much better than giving one who has less need. So it depends of how needy is the receiver, who is this receiver to you, and also the time and the place and many things. So giving zakah in Ramadan is something good because it is a blessed month. So we will address the rulings of zakah, because many of our brothers and sisters, as I said, try to give their zakah during the blessed month of Ramadan. But we have also to keep in mind something. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam put some rulings for zakah, but he also put some principles. الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم وضع مبادئ ووضع أحكام للزكاة. الآن هذه المبادئ لا تتغير، هذه المبادئ ثابتة لا تتغير، لكن الأحكام قد تتغير لأنها إذا تغير طبيعة أو واقع الحياة. So the Messenger ﷺ put some principles. These will never change, because these principles for every time and for every place. But the rulings could change depending on changing in the way of life or type of life and conditions and many things. For example, the Messenger ﷺ said to Mu'adh ibn Jabal, وأخبرهم أن الله قد افترض عليهم صدقة تؤخذ من أغنيائهم وترد على فقرائهم. The Messenger ﷺ told Mu'adh when he sent him as a governor of Yemen to tell people there if they accepted Islam, and to tell them that they have to perform the 5 daily prayers, and he said, tell them after that there is a charity or zakah should be taken from the wealthy people and given back to the needy ones. So this is a principle in zakah. You take it from the wealthy ones and give to the needy ones. This cannot change, because in every time, in every place, there are wealthy people and needy people. So you have to take it from the wealthy and give to the needy. You cannot do the opposite. You cannot take it from the needy, as in many countries, they take it from the needy and give the wealthy. Yeah, but you have to take it from the wealthy and give to the needy. This cannot change. But, for example, who is the wealthy one? This could change. If you have $5,000 here, you are not wealthy. You are not so wealthy, let's say. But if you have $5,000, let's say, in many other countries overseas, you are wealthy. You are very wealthy. If you, let's say, earn $50,000 while you are single or just married and you don't have a lot of expenses of life, you earn income more than what you need. But if you earn, let's say, $60,000, $70,000 with a big family and 2, 3 of your children at school or at college, then this income is not even enough. So this could change. These things could change. So I always tell my students when we when we teach zakah as academic courses, I say the most act of worship أكثر عبادة تتغير أحكامها ويجب إعادة النظر في أحكامها هي عبادة الزكاة لأن العالم الاقتصاد كله تغير. The most act of worship we should revise the rulings, its rulings is zakah. Prayer is still the same, only few changes. For example, how to direct ourselves towards Kaaba, because the earth is round. Should we take the shortest distance okay? These are few changes. For Hajj, for example, instead of throwing the jamarat in one place, you have now levels. These are few changes. But for zakah, even more than 90% of the rulings the previous fuqaha put should be changed, because we are no longer dealing with the same financial system. We have totally different financial system. We are no longer trading using dates and barley and oats, these things. We are no longer using even gold and silver in buying and selling. We are no longer, let's say, for example, at that time, the messenger, for example, in Al-Madinah, puts some kind of zakah that you have to pay zakah if you have a farm of palm trees or barley. Just sha'ir and tamr, dates and barley, you have to pay zakah for them. Because no one in Al-Madinah had, let's say, a mango farm or watermelon farm or apple farm. So he didn't put zakah for these things because no one had such source of income. But today we have. So, for example, many fuqaha, let me give you a last example. Many fuqaha said that there is no zakah in honey. العسل قالوا ليس عليه زكاة. Okay? Why? Because no one had a honey farm at that time. Yani the only way to get some honey, there is a story we always mention in the rulings of talaq, that a man in Yemen went to collect some honey. So the bees, اللي هو العش هذا شو بسموه خلية النحل الايش؟ الهايب. The hype was under in a cave in a very in a mountain, in a very هذا sleep place. So he tied a rope with a tree and he hanged down to collect some bees. He took a put to collect some bees. And his wife came with a knife and said, "You have to divorce me now, or I will cut this rope." He said, "By Allah, remember, you are a Muslim. How can you kill me? By Allah, I ask you by Allah to leave me." She said, "No. If you did not divorce me now, I will cut the rope and kill you. And no one will know." Then what can he do? Yeah. He said, "Okay." So he divorced her. Then he climbed back and went to Umar ibn al-Khattab in al-Madinah. He asked him, what should I do? He said, no, this talaq is not accounted as talaq because you was forced to do this. But can we tell this person, okay, give us 10% of this honey as zakah? He was risking his life. But now, you can see there are farms for beehives, and they get sometimes hundreds of thousands from selling honey. In this case, should we say, no, because there was no zakah on honey at the time of the messenger, you don't have to pay zakah now? No, this is a big source of income. So we have to be open-minded here that many of these rulings could change from the time of the messenger to our time, because we are trying to keep the principles of zakah, not the literal rulings of zakah. Right. Let's go first to talk about the zakah, the meaning of zakah. كلمة الزكاة، ماذا تعني كلمة الزكاة؟ علماء اللغة العربية يقولوا الزكاة من زكى الشيء، زكى الشيء إذا نما ونما نموا طيبا، يعني كان في إيش؟ زيادة فيها خير، مش زيادة فيها شر. لأنه في أحيانا قد ينمو الشيء نموا خبيثا، الله يبعد عنا وعنكم الشر. السرطان شو هو؟ نمو خلايا بس بشكل إيش؟ خبيث. بينما النمو الطبيعي يعني الحين لما واحد يروح على الجيم وهذا وتنمو عضلاته وتكبر، هذا نمو جيد. بس واحد بضل ياكل وبنمو كرشه، هذا نمو ايش؟ سيء. فانه الزكاة لا نقول زكى الشيء الا اذا نما نموا طيبا وليس خبيثا. ولذلك الربا ايضا الزيادة والنمو، لكنه نمو خبيث. So the word zakah taken from zakah. Zakah has two meanings actually. The first one is to increase or to grow, but to grow in a good way. For example, if you went to gym and you have like large muscles, this is a good thing to grow, to increase. But if you eat and have a large belly, this is bad thing. This is bad growing. Here to lose is better than to gain. To lose weight is better than to gain weight. So zakah, we do not say zakah unless it is growing in the good way. In the other hand, we have raba, which is from the riba taken from. It is increasing, but in a bad way sometimes. It could be in the good way or the bad way. But because of this called a riba, because it increases in the bad way. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَا أَتَيْتُ مِنْ رِبًا لِيَرْبُوَ فِي أَمْوَالِ النَّاسِ فَلَا يَرْبُو عِنْدَ اللَّهِ. What you give the riba or take as riba, it will increase for you, but it will not increase as kind of barakah. It will be increasing in the bad way. The other meaning of zakah is purification. Purification, الطهارة. فنقول زكى الشيء إذا طهر. وعندنا إحنا التزكية أو التذكية. التزكية نحكي عن التطهير، تزكية النفس. قد أفلح من زكاها، يعني إيش؟ طهرها. So zakah here is to purify something, and we have part of our religion called tazkiyah, is to purify yourself from the bad manners. But when we talk about zakah in Islamic fiqh, we are talking about an act of worship. What is this act of worship? It is paying a specific amount from the money that you have, or from the source of income that you have, in a specific time for specific people with the intention. أن تعطي هو قدر معين أو نسبة معينة من مال معين تعطى لأشخاص معينين في أوقات معينة بنية. طيب يعني for example you have, let's say you received a phone call or a letter, okay, let's say that do you know so and so? Yes, he was my uncle in Argentina. He left 4 years ago and he passed away. Yes, he passed away, and he had no one to inherit him except you are the only or the only one, the only relative of him, okay? And you will receive like $60 million, okay? It may take like a few months or 1 year to enter to your bank account, okay? After they entered your bank account, you are now wealthy. So after that, let's say after 1 Hijri year, let's say this happened in Ramadan the 15th, okay? They entered your bank account. Now this money is yours. Let's say the 100 million, but to make it easier to calculate, okay? Next Ramadan, in the 15th of that Ramadan, this is hawl, specific time. You have money that could grow, and you have now time. The time came. So you have to take a portion of this money. بدك تاخذ نسبة 2.5 ربع العشر, quarter of tenth, which means 2.5%. You have to take as zakah, to pay as zakah. So 2.5 millions you have to pay as zakah before the 15th of Ramadan, for let's say. So to whom? You cannot give it to, you say, okay, I will give it to my friends, I will give it to my wife. No, you have to give it to specific people, like the needy, the poor and the needy people, for the people who works in the relief organizations, like as their sellers, for sure, you know, some relief organizations hire people and they have to pay him, to pay these people because they work. So part of our donations will go to pay the salaries and the payments of these people, but because they are doing the job for us. They are going, they are overseas buying basket foods, buying blankets, tents, paying tuitions for people, whatever. But this is known as al-amilun alayha. There are 8, and we will talk about this inshallah later, but there are 8 specific parties who can receive the zakah. With intention. Intention is important. Why? Because if you give this money without the intention of zakah, it is not accounted as zakah. I received this question one day. Someone asked me that he calculated his zakah, and he found that he has to pay $10,000. He was going to donate more, so he paid 15,000. 10 as zakah with the intention of zakah, and 5 with the intention of sadaqah. Then he made another calculation. He found that he has to pay more than 10,000, 15,000. He said, can I consider the extra 5,000 as zakah? What do you think? No, he cannot. Why? Because there were no intention. Because of this, we say, for those who pay, who donate, we say, make the intention for the whole money to be zakah. So you cover the zakah, and if there is any extra amount, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will consider it for you as sadaqah. But to have the intention that, but in that case, he had to go and pay the extra amount of $5,000 again as zakah, with the intention of zakah. Because it's an act of worship and we cannot do it without نية. فالزكاة لا تصح إلا بنية. لازم يكون قبلها نية. طيب. الزكاة طبعا لها منزلة عظيمة في الإسلام ومرتبة عالية. فهي ثالث أركان الإسلام. الزكاة هي الركن الثالث من أركان الإسلام، وقد اقترنت في أكثر من 30 آية في القرآن تتحدث عن الصلاة. الله يقرنها بالصلاة، يعني احنا عندنا الشهادتين تدخل بها الإسلام. الصلاة تربطك بالله، الزكاة تربطك بإخوانك المسلمين. ولذلك الله سبحانه وتعالى كثيرا ما يذكر الصلاة ويذكر معها ايش؟ الزكاة، إما يذكرهم بآيتين جنب بعض أو يذكرهم حتى في نفس الآية. كم آية في القرآن؟ أقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة. ولذلك النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ذكرها لنا أنها الركن الثالث من أركان الإسلام، فقال بني الإسلام على 5: شهادة أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله وإقام الصلاة وإيتاء الزكاة وحج البيت وصوم رمضان. حديث متفق عليه. So zakah has a great value in Islam, a great or a high value in Islam. Zakah is the third pillar of Islam. After the Shahadatain, you enter Islam by Shahadatain, then the prayers, which is the second pillar in Islam, then comes the Zakah. And in more than 30 verses in Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned Salah and Zakah all together. And the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in the hadith said, Bunya Islam is built upon 5 pillars: the Shahadatain, prayers, the 5 daily prayers, paying Zakah, fasting Ramadan, and the Hajj. So these are the pillars of Islam. So what if someone refused, the one who withholds Zakah, the one who refuses to pay the Zakah? This person could be one of 2 kinds. The first one is a person withholding Zakah through denial. الشخص الذي لا يعطي الزكاة إنكارا لها، ما بيرضى يعطيها لأنه ينكر، يقول لك ما في علينا زكاة، ما في زكاة في الإسلام. يقول له وكل هذه الآيات والأحاديث التي ذكرت فيها هذا إن لم يكن حديث عهد بالإسلام، إن لم يكن مسلم جديد وما بيعرفش، عندها يعلم. أما غير ذلك فهذا لا يعتبر مسلما، هذا ليس مسلما، هذا أنكر معلوما من الدين بالضرورة. So the one who deny the zakah and he says no, it's not a pillar of Islam, it's not an obligatory, we say if he's just a new Muslim or someone who came from a country Muslims do not learn or about their religion, he does not know, we teach him. But if this one is raised in an Islamic country or a place there where he can learn about Islam, and we say you are denying something certain in our religion, mentioned in many places in Quran, in many ahadith. So denying this is denying Quran and hadith, which means this person is no longer a Muslim. It's like denying the prayers, denying fasting Ramadan, denying zakah, denying hajj, denying that alcohol is haram, denying that pork is haram. These things, it's not optional. There's no different opinions here. It is certain rulings in Islam. On the other hand, if this person says, yes, I admit that I have to pay zakah, but it's a kind of stinginess. I feel like بخل ما بدي يعطيها بخلا بها. And that is for many people who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed them with a lot of wealth, but they refuse. Sometimes some of them could give some sadaqah, but it is nothing in comparison to the wealth. For example, for some people who have billions, if you have $1 billion, how much your zakah should be? 25 millions. So for some people who have like billions of dollars, and even in Islamic countries, many people in Islamic countries, they own billions of dollars and they refuse to pay the zakat. They sometimes give like 100,000 here, 100,000. This is nothing in comparison to the wealth that they have. But they do not deny the zakat. We say they are Muslims, they are still Muslims, but they are committing a grave sin. It is a very big sin to withhold the zakah. It's not their right. This amount of money of zakah is not theirs. It's not their money. It's the money of the needy people. It's the money. Because of this, there is a kind of athar that the poor people are suffering because the wealthy ones are not paying their zakah. So for these people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised them with a severe punishment. Allah first of all promised them that He could take His blessings from their lives, from their wealth, and that a severe punishment is waiting for them in the hereafter. And many ahadith is talking about this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned even in Quran. لما قال يوم يحمى الذين يكنزون الذهب والفضة ولا ينفقونها في سبيل الله فبشرهم بعذاب أليم يوم يحمى عليها في نار جهنم فتكوى بها جباههم وجنوبهم وظهورهم بما كانوا يكسبون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that those who do not pay the zakah will be punished. These gold and silver will turn into like, let's say, kind of, they will burn into the hellfire, will be heated in the hellfire, and they will be tortured with them. And the Messenger ﷺ mentioned this in the hadith, that every owner of either gold or silver who does not pay his due zakah will be called to account on the day of judgment, and plates of fire will be prepared for this person. These plates are then heated over the raging flames of the hellfire, where whenever they become cold on his body, they will be heated again and again, and this will be repeated. This is not the punishment in the hellfire. This is his punishment before the day, or in the day of judgment. This is in addition to punishment in his grave, punishment in the hellfire maybe after that. Because of this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it very serious sin for those who do not pay zakah. Even in Quran it's mentioned that the ones who do not pay zakah are وَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُشْرِكِينَ الَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ. So the mushrikeen are the ones who use not to give the zakah. The Muslims never use not to give their zakah. And if there is a Muslim government, what should they do? They have to force him to pay it. They have to take it from him by force. Imagine if someone refused to pay tax here. Would the government let him go? And they will, maybe even after 1, 2, 3 years, they will catch him one day. They will bring him to account, and they will punish him. Sometimes they could go and take all his money, or sometimes they could jail this person, or sometimes they could put fines on him. Why? Because he's not paying the right or the portion of the government. The government, the federal or the state or the county, whatever, what is the source of their income? It's through the taxes. Even if a state said, no, we refuse to pay the zakah, why should we pay the, let's say Illinois said, we are not going to pay any zakah or any tax for DC, for the federal government. Oh, a war, this could cause a war. The army could come to and because what unites the country, it's this. So because of this, yes, the Muslim governor should take it by force. And there is hadith that if this person refused to pay the zakah, فَإِنَّا آخِذُوهَا وَشَطْرَ مَالِهِ عَزَمَةٌ مِّنْ عَزَمَاتِ رَبِّنَا. We will take it with 50% of his wealth as a kind of punishment. And even the Sahaba, after the Messenger ﷺ passed away, some people said, we used to give the zakah to the Messenger. Now he passed away. Why should we give it to the Khalifa in Medina? It's our own money. A war happened. And Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu fought these people even before the Murtaddeen. And he forced them to bring their zakah. And for sure, they used to bring the zakah not to stay in Al-Madinah. After that, from Al-Madinah, it will go to every needy one. And sometimes even they did not use to bring it to Al-Madinah, just to take it from the wealthy, like for the Yemen, to take it from the wealthy people in Yemen to give it to the needy people in Yemen. But under the supervision of the Muslim government. So yes, the zakah is a serious thing, and if there is a Muslim government, it should take it as the governments do with the tax. Why do we pay zakah? There are many wisdom and many virtues of zakah. First of all, zakah will purify our souls from stinginess, from sins. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this in the Quran, خُذْ مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ صَدَقَةً تُطَهِّرُهُمْ وَتُزَكِّيهِمْ بِهَا. Let them give or accept their charities to purify them and to make tazkiyah, to bless them and to purify them. And also, zakah will purify the money, because this money, when the zakah is due, this 2.5%, for example, is not yours. it is haram for you to take them. It is the right of needy people. So, as in the hadith, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam يقول, إذا خالط الحرام الحلال أفسد الحرام الحلال. Imagine that you have a container, a big container of milk. Just put one drop of blood in it. What would happen to the whole container? It will be ruined. Because of this, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if the haram mixed into the halal, it will ruin it. So it will purify the money. And also, it's a test. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that as human beings, we love money. وَتُحِبُّونَ الْمَالَ حُبًّا جَمًّا. You love money too much. But would you love Allah more? Would you obey Allah more than your stinginess? And also, it is how to help the needy ones. Allah blessed you with wealth, but there are people who are not blessed with this. So he is tested by being patient, by patience, and you are testing by praising Allah and thanking Him by giving. And this is how the community will be completing each other and strengthening each other. Imagine the needy ones when they see the wealthy ones enjoying all these money and going to vacations and buying like very expensive things, and they cannot afford medicine or tuitions, school tuitions, or even food. At the end, they will try to steal, to kill, to do anything to get their portion. So Islam said, no, we give it as a kind of obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also it's a cycle. Money should go back to people. For example, let me give you an example. Where did a company like Amazon get its own money? From people, from us. Without people, if people have no money, what would happen to these big companies? They will shut down. So when money goes back to people, it will be a good cycle. Because of this, the Quran said, كَيْ لَا يَكُونَ دُولَةً بَيْنَ الْأَغْنِيَاءِ مِنْكُمْ. Allah does not want money just to be cycling between the wealthy ones. It should go to the people. So the economy will work. The economy will turn on, will keep going. Also, the zakah will train us to give. If you give the zakah, then you will have. Let me tell you something. I'm not so wealthy I did not test this, but for some people who are very wealthy, like have billions, and they tried everything to enjoy themselves, buying expensive things, buying air. But after that, some of them said the most thing that we enjoyed is helping others. When you see a smile on a face of a child or an ADP person that you helped, this is the thing that you will feel the happiness because. So when you used to give, you will feel the happiness of giving and you will continue giving. Not only the zakah, because of this many of Sahaba used to give and give, not just the zakah. They used to give whenever they have the chance to give. Finally, the zakah is a reason of turning off the anger of the Lord. In the hadith, الصدقة أو صدقة السر تطفئ الخطيئة أو تطفئ غضب الرب كما يطفئ الماء النار. The secret charity or the charity will turn down or turn off the sin or turn off the anger of the Lord as water will turn off or will stop the fire. And also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَرَحْمَتِي وَسِعَتْ كُلَّ شَيْء. My mercy will include everything, but I will not give it to anyone. فَسَأَكْتُبُهَا لِلَّذِينَ يَتَّقُونَ وَيُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ. I will write it, I will give it to those who fear Allah and give the zakah. And also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said He will give His victory to those when they are victorious, what they would do, الَّذِينَ إِن مَّكَّنَّاهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ أَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتَوُا الزَّكَاةَ. They will perform their prayers or establish prayers and give the zakah. So it is a reason to get victory. Inshallah Rabbil Alameen, tomorrow we will talk about the conditions and requirements for the one to be of the people of the zakah, because zakah is special for Muslims. The non-Muslims should pay another thing, because zakah is a kind of honoring the person, and no one deserves to be honored by giving the zakah but the Muslim. Inshallah Rabbil Alameen, we'll talk about this in the next dars. Jazakum Allahu khairan wa nashkuru lakum husna istima'ikum wa barakallahu fikum. Do you have any questions? Yeah, go ahead.
So you said you pay on gold and silver, right? You have to pay.
Basically, yes. Not all gold and silver. Some types of gold and silver is not zakatable. Go ahead.
And then what about businesses like products? You have to pay on your products.
We are coming to this, but I will answer your question. For example, what kind of business you are talking about?
Tobacco business.
Tobacco business. First of all, we have to talk. We'll talk about this later. But first of all, it depends on the fatwa. Is tobacco halal or haram? Most of us scholars say tobacco is haram. So the haram income is not subject for zakah. You have to give it all, or to keep just the amount that you can live with. But the other amount this is considered haram money that you have to pay. Let's take the other opinion that it is not haram, okay? It is makruh. In this case, yes, you have to pay the zakah. Let me talk about another thing, not tobacco. For example, let me talk about a grocery store, okay? For example, if you have, let's say, something mixed, a grocery store, and this person has a fridge for alcohol. For the money of alcohol, it is haram to sell alcohol. Even Allah cursed those who do this. But if he did so, there are two things haram. The action, what he did by selling alcohol, and also the money itself is haram. So he has to donate the whole money. He cannot keep selling, and also he has to donate this haram money. Or he is keeping money which is haram. So here he has to pay 100% to give. And for the action itself, he has to make tawbah. So even donating the haram money is not enough. He has to make tawbah to get rid of these things. But the other grocery, he's selling bread, or for our brother in the Arab store who does not sell any haram products. We will talk about this. These are the inventory. So in the zakat time, you make a kind of estimate for the value of this inventory. In the case, the value of the tobacco and things that you have for sale, the things that you sell, the inventory, and then you add to them the amount of cash money or the money in the bank's account. Let's say we have inventory. The value of inventory is $10,000, and we have cash in the bank another $10,000, and we have, let's say, cash at home another $10,000. So we have $30,000. We deduct any debts that we have to pay. We add any debts that we should receive soon. So after that, we pay 2.5% of the total amount. This is called urud al-tijara, and we will talk about it, inshallah, Rabbil Alameen, in an upcoming dars, inshallah. Okay, another questions?
If you want to change the date, you pay your zakat to the date of Ramadan.
Good. If you are usually paying zakah, let's say in Muharram, okay, the month of Muharram, and you want to make it in Ramadan, so you have not to delay it to Ramadan, you have to make it earlier. For example, you bring your zakah from Muharram earlier. You do not wait till the next Muharram. You pay it in Ramadan and keep paying it every Ramadan, every month of Ramadan. But you cannot delay it till the next, the zakah is due in Muharram and you delay it to Ramadan. No, you cannot delay the zakah. When it is the time of zakah, you have to pay it. You should not delay it. But you can pay it in advance, let's say, يعني مقدما.
So if you pay it in Muharram, when Muharram comes,
Mhm.
you want to change it to Ramadan, you still pay it in Muharram?
No, you bring it يعني earlier. You do it earlier in Ramadan and خلاص, you don't have to pay it in Muharram. For example, Kenan is the one who received the money from his uncle in Brazil, okay? And that was in Muharram. Okay, Muharram 1444 Hijri. In Zakah, in all the Islamic rulings, we are talking about Hijri calendar. We don't use, in the Islamic rulings, we don't use the Gregorian calendar. If you want to follow the Gregorian calendar, but like paying the Zakah with the tax in April, for example, or March, then you have to add a small portion because the solar year, the Gregorian year is longer, 10 days longer than. So it is not 2.5, it will be 2.6. You have to add this small amount to your zakah. But let's say Kenan received the $1 million from his uncle who passed away in Argentina, and that was in Muharram, the first month in the Hijri calendar. Okay? When he has to pay the zakah, he received the money in Muharram 1444, he has to pay in 1445. If he wants to pay in Ramadan, then Ramadan is the 9th month. Then he has to pay in Ramadan 1444 and then keep paying in Ramadan every year. Is this clear?
Yeah, but I thought it had to be, you had the money for a year. So in this case, you would only...
No, you can pay it. This is the time when it is become, let's say, due. But you can pay before it is due. For example, for the credit card, okay, they send you a statement. They will say this payment is due in 15 of the month. You can pay in the first of the month, in the second, in the third, right?
The year is just the date that you have to pay it by, or it's going to be late, basically.
What?
The year date is just the date you have to pay it by, or it's going to be late if you don't. But you can still pay it earlier.
If you pay it early, no problem. Yeah, if you pay it earlier, there is no problem. It's like the credit card. You can pay it earlier, but you cannot delay it. Even if you delay it for 1 day, you will receive like $40 fine and the interest.
So if you paid, let's say you used the Gregorian calendar, January 1st you paid.
Yeah, then you have to put the
So how do you
2.6. They have to work in the cameras, so we, inshallah Rabbil Alameen. We will discuss more, inshallah, rulings about zakat tomorrow, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan, and thank you for coming and attending the dars, and may Allah, inshallah, learn us what we